What's up, everyone? It's the Unofficial Controller Podcast. It's Seb, RGT, and with a special guest joining us today. But before we get into all that, we want to thank you so much for listening to this episode and giving us your time. You know, I've been a little MIA lately, so, it's the return of the king, baby. Seb is back. But, before we get
Triple
into
S, baby, Triple S.
Triple S is back in the building, babe. But before we get into all that, thank you for listening. George has been bitten by two snakes right in the eyes right now, so I have commandeered the control of the show. He will be back shortly, though. I've told the Fur K Corporation to heal him up proper, so he'll be back before you know it. But before we begin, thank you so much for listening. RGT, I got to say, we have a very special guest in the building. How excited
Definitely.
are you for this episode?
Very excited. Yeah, being a collector myself, this is it's a sort of a side of collecting that I've never really gone down, but really want to get into. So I'm going to find this very interesting. Yeah, so I'm excited for our guest today. Definitely.
And speaking of our guest today, we have the one and only Rob in the building. Rob, can you introduce yourself to the audience today?
Hello, I'm Rob from R.A.W.Talent Art. I make custom consoles, basically, and do lots of internal modifications.
That's being modest, man. You do some really cool work with some really cool concepts and consoles. How did you come up with all this? Like, this is such a cool idea.
Well, basically, I used to be an illustrator many years ago. That was a very hard business to sort of do well in. I was bidding for jobs, and you basically have to bid so low, it was not even viable financially. There'd be a lot of people that still lived with mum and dad, so they could bid a lot lower than me. And I just, I fell out of love with it, really. Took a few years off, and I knew that something was missing in my life. I've always been into art, and I thought, well, what are my two passions? And I thought, well, art and gaming. So I put them together, really, and started doing a few sort of test projects, and thought I could maybe make something out of this. And as the years went on, I got better and better at what I did, and until I started thinking, well, I'll start selling them, and it all went from there.
That's amazing. So
Yeah,
I know you said
fantastic.
your interest is in gaming. Like, what was some of the games that got you like really interested in gaming?
Oh, wow. Well, I was born in 1981, so my first computer was the Commodore 64. And I remember playing a game called Barbarian. I think it was called Barbarian, and it was
Yeah, I
very
remember that.
that sort of kicked me off onto gaming, and the usual sort of Pac-Man and all that sort of stuff. And then I got my first console, which was the Sega Mega Drive, which is still my favorite console of all time. I've still got my actual original one. I've kept it ever since I think I was probably about 10 when I got it for Christmas. Came with Altered Beast, which I didn't really like, actually.
I didn't either when I got mine.
It's even in the arcade. I've played the arcade version. It's still not very good, but
No.
I quickly acquired Sonic the Hedgehog, and yeah, just absolutely loved that game. That kicked me off, really. Still play Sonic the Hedgehog today. I use it as a test game to test my modifications and stuff. Try and beat times and see if I can collect every single ring and all that sort of stuff. I never seem to get bored of it. And then the usual Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, those sort of games. They really kicked me off on the road.
That's really cool. So, before we begin, all about your endeavors, all about the business, all about this really cool, innovative thing that you got going, I want to ask you, what have you been playing lately?
I have been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
What a game! Yeah.
It is, yeah, with my 9-year-old. He's actually already completed it.
Wow. How old's
And
he?
he keeps trying
9?
to ruin it for me. But I've probably put in maybe about 10 hours total, and I'm nowhere near completing it. He
No.
keeps the advice, go there, go here. But I'm more of an adventurer. I just like walking around, see what I find. Where he's a bit of a completionist. He watches a lot of YouTube videos, and sort of does what they tell him. I tell him he's cheating, but he's like, yeah, I just like wandering around. I like these open world type games with, you turn a corner and there's a secret cave. We'll wonder what's in there. I'm more of that sort of gamer where he wants to do the main missions and get to the end as quickly as possible. So we're sort of different in that aspect, but it sort of links it nicely together.
Yeah, RGT, have you been playing Tears of the Kingdom a lot lately too?
Yeah, still my main game. I'm 90 hours in so far.
90?
So, 90, yeah. I've got 90 shrines done.
Okay.
I'm on about 20 hearts, I think I've got. I've done 2 of the sages, so I've got 2 more sages to do. But I'm like Rob.
Sword?
No, not yet. Not yet. So I should be trying to get that soon. I think it's going to be my next thing before I get the 2 next next 2 sages done. Yeah,
it's good.
So yeah, I'm absolutely loving that. But I'm like Rob, I spend 90 hours because I do explore. I like finding all the shrines. I like doing them. And I mean, I think when I started the game, I think I'd done the first 2 or 3 missions, and then I didn't do another mission for about 50 hours. I was exploring. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if you weren't on last week, Seb, but I've got a Series X now.
What? Congrats.
So I got the trifecta today. So I got the OLED Switch, got the Series X and the PS5. So I've been playing Forza Horizon 5 on there. Last week was about 30 hours. I think I put a few more in this week. Probably pushing on to 40 hours on Forza Horizon 5. Superb game. I mean, that's open world racing games. That's it's the king of them all now. I think Forza. That's the way it's gone. The way, as me and you have discussed previously with Need for Speed Unbound and games like that, they're nowhere near what a Forza game is now. So absolutely loving it. Yeah, absolutely superb. I've been doing quite a bit of retro stuff because I was away, and I said to George last week I visited a cafe in Newquay called Retro Blast Coffee, which is all arcade machines and high scores and bits. And I've been playing Frogger. So Frogger, yeah. So I've been playing more Frogger on the Atari 2600. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's actually a decent port on the Atari, actually, even though
hard as well.
It is hard, yeah. I was hoping to try and beat their high score at Retro Blast, but nowhere near what their score. I think the score was up 30,000, and I was lucky if I got 10,000, so I weren't nowhere near their score. But yeah, I've been playing that. Had a friend round the other night into the gaming shed, so we were playing. I got introduced him to Postal, which I played the other week. The new as such game for Dreamcast, or one of the newer games for the Dreamcast and Wave Game Studios. So we were playing through that. Great fun again. Awesome game. Brutal game. I wouldn't recommend to play.
I've not heard about that.
Postal is a old game from. It was a PC port back in the day. But Wave Game Studios in Norwich, who do Dreamcast games, newer Dreamcast games, converted it over to the Dreamcast, and it's like an isometric shooter game, but it's quite brutal. It's basically, I think, the gist of the story is there's an airbase nearby. This guy who's your character thinks that the airbase has leaked something into the public and turning them all going mad. And you're literally going through, killing all the hostiles, making your way to the airbase to stop them. But whether that's actually him losing his mind or whether it's actually happening is up to you to decide. But yeah, and I say it's a brutal game. I think it was quite controversial back in the day. I think there might even have been a few bans from certain countries. But anyway, they got it back up, published it for Dreamcast. Brilliant version of that. I also picked up. I haven't started it yet. I can't remember what it's called. I got Rush Rally, which is I can show you. I know it's not good for audio, but I'll show you on the screen. It's another one Wave Game Studios have done for the Dreamcast. So I haven't opened it yet, so I'm looking forward to playing that this week. So I'll give that a go and let you know next week. But that's pretty much what I've been playing this week. How about you, Seb? What you've been playing?
Oh man, I've been playing.
I bet you've been playing some indies, haven't you? We've
been
for a couple of weeks, so I bet there's a line of indies you've been playing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been playing one of the most bat crazy games I think I've played in a very long time called Pizza Tower. Have either of you heard of it?
Pizza Tower. I think
What
I've
I
heard
want.
of that somewhere.
Oh my goodness. Like this is like I know I kind of like I kind of say this quite often. Like I can see this being indie game of the year. Like it is
Oh, really?
absolutely oh man, it is absolutely crazy. It combines a lot of elements from Mario, Rayman, it all in a
Oh,
WarioWare
that's
type.
surprising. I thought you were going to say it was with Pizza Tower. I thought you were going to say it was like a puzzle sort
That's why I
of.
thought like a Tetris
Yeah,
type.
yeah. I thought it was
No,
going to be that.
no, it is like a zany platformer to where it combines like a lot of the elements from Mario and like Rayman, but with a lot of like WarioWare type of zaniness or Wario type of zaniness. So it's like every level in this game is a speed run, so to speak. It's almost like a speed run challenge, but the general gist is the Wario-ness of the game is like every level is a different gameplay mechanic. So like instead of you just running like traditional Mario style through a level, you do the Mario thing of jumping on your enemies, upgrading your abilities and such. They changed the thing. So there might be a level with zero gravity to where like you have to kind of learn how to maneuver in like that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
There might be a level to where like you only like you can jump, but you like to really elevate yourself through the platform mechanics. You have like a chicken hook, and like you throw a chicken and like with a rope on it, and that chicken attaches to different things, and you have to swing yourself around with this chicken. There might be a level. Yeah, exactly. It does. It has a really cool sound mechanic as well. It is like yeah, there's so many different mechanics, and just when I think like, okay, like I have no idea what they're gonna pull out next, they pull out something that I didn't think what they were like completely capable of in this type of game, and that is the loop every single time. It's like every level is a different challenge and also like a different gameplay mechanic. So I'm like, it's really hard to almost predict the future in this game because like
Mm.
they not only do the enemies change, but the scenery changes. Not only does like in Mario, I feel like Mario always does like, especially 2D side of things, it always does an innovative thing to where like you kind of it just adds on mechanic after mechanic, but it's also adding on like the mechanic on top of the pre-existing like layer of information that you already have. So like
Mm.
in the first three levels they give you yeah, for sure. It's always raising the bar, but it's always raising you on top of what you already have. In this game, it strips down all your abilities and gives you just one or two abilities per level. And so you always are
It's
adapting on the
interesting.
fly. And yeah, it is. And the crazy thing is, you're speed running this as well. So, like, and you get graded on how well you can complete this level, how quickly you can complete each and every level. So it's like,
Get quite panicky.
yeah, it is. It is. But at the same time, it is the music, the environment, because like the whole game looks like a 90s rock, like a Rocco Modern's Life type
Yeah.
cartoon and such like that. It has a very distinct 90s art style, and like all the things that are happening are very like low 90s poly kind of environment. And it's just crazy. I can't like emphasize that enough. It is the most crazy game I've played this year, but it it has a hook, man, and that hook gets
Mm.
you and it doesn't let you go.
I suppose
What
it's like that
system is that
speed
on?
running side of it as well.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that, Rob?
What system is that on?
I believe I played it on PC, but I believe it might be for everything now. Everything. I know let's see, let me make sure. Yeah, it's PC. I know like the developers are planning on putting this specifically on Switch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is like a great Switch title. This feels
Yes.
like it belongs on
Yeah,
Indie section, hasn't it?
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
that's perfect for Switch as well. Especially if it's that sort of quick pick up, do a level, put
Hmm.
down. If you're on the go, that's perfect for the Switch.
Yeah, I would say to the listeners, if you liked Wario Land, but you want to play like a platformer like Mario or Rayman, you should definitely check this game out. It's addicting. It really is. Like I thought when I first played this, I'd just pick it up, play it for like maybe 4 or 5 hours and such like that. I legitimately played 8 hours in one day, and I thought to myself, I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. I'm like, I don't think I can stop. Like I had to completely walk away. That thing will get you and not let you go. And
I
so
bet it wasn't expensive either.
Oh no, I mean, full disclosure, I got a review code for the outlet, but like I think this game it currently is 25 percent off on Steam. I think making it, let me look it up. 14.99, like
Yeah.
14.99 right now on Steam. So it
Yeah,
is
brilliant.
it's one of those games that I'd highly recommend for people who are looking for a platformer. Like because right now I'd probably say like the platforming genre is like the only genre that hasn't necessarily broken out on the AAA level this year. Like everything else is
Yeah, that's
kind of
true.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, everything else has kind of been like, oh, we have like fighting game fans are eating like feasting this year with Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Like
Mm,
you horror game fans and survival horror games with Resident Evil, Dead Space, and now Alan Wake 2 coming down the pipeline.
mm,
Adventure games or adventure games with Zelda and Diablo are like feasting. So it's really, this feels like a no brainer for platformer of the year at this point, because quite frankly there's no like competition there, and it's that good. So
mm. It
yeah.
surprised me that a lot of the AAA developers haven't gone back to a platform style. I think they'd be successful. I mean, they took Metroid back, Metroid Dread back to that sort of platform, and took it back to its roots. And that done really well. I mean, I'd love to see like another 2D Castlevania or something like that come out. It would be fantastic.
Have you played the Circle of the Moon? It's like a take on Castlevania. I think it was done by one of the developers of Castlevania, but it's very similar.
Yeah, I have played. I don't know if it's the same people. I did play Bloodstained. I played.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Oh no, is that the same one? I'm not sure.
I think they done two. I think they done Bloodstained, and then they done Curse and the Moon. I think, which was
That's right.
I think
Yeah,
they done two. Yeah, but I have played the first one. Yeah, very good. They do have that vibe definitely. And you sort of think, Konami and people like that are missing out really, because they must be kicking themselves because they got an IP there that they could bring back and do really well with that.
yeah.
I don't think Capcom cares that much about like publishing games like that anymore. Like I know that they announced Metal Gear Solid, but I think that's even an outsourced project right now. They haven't. Yeah, it's almost like when PlayStation did the Demon Souls remake. They had Blue Point at the helm of actually doing that. So right now, it'll be very interesting. I think this is a different Capcom than the Capcom of old, but I know they're trying to get back into the gaming verse a little bit. But right now, I feel like still the pachinko machines and arcade machines are kind of like their primary focus right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, outside of Pizza Tower, I've been playing a little game called AEW Fight Forever. It is a wrestling pro wrestling game inspired by like the old school arcade wrestling games like WWE No Mercy and such like that. That's been a fun time. So between those two and a couple of games that I got for review, yeah, I've been playing a lot. I've been feasting over here as well.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie, Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
Oh, good. Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic. So, yeah, we've had a good lineup of games there, but I think, I think let's jump into learn a bit about Rob, really. We'll learn a bit about your first computer and your C64 and Barbarian bits and pieces like that. And obviously your illustrating work. I mean, are you still in that line of work now, illustrating, or?
No. I mean, I do a bit on my consoles when I customize them. I sometimes do a bit of hand painting and stuff if the customer wants it. But it's just time, time constraints. Yeah. Hand painting takes a lot longer.
What was the first console you done, and what gave you the idea to do it?
Oh, I think the first one I ever done, I think, was either a PS1.
Oh,
Actually, I think the PS1 was my first commission, and then that was a Doom PS1. It's on my Instagram. I'll give links to in a bit, but if you scroll all the way down, you'll probably see it. But I think the first one I did myself was a Turtles NES.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're nothing to look at now. I look back on it and I'm like, oh my god, maybe I should delete that picture. But then I think no, because it shows my progression to where I am at now. I use completely different materials now, different type of paint and clear coat, etc. But different techniques. But yeah, I think I did a Turtles one. It had like a sewer lid on it, and all the characters with like linear lines of color for each character, a bit like a screen type. But yeah, it wasn't great. But
so is it just I mean, especially as you've progressed to where you are now, is it just something you've self-taught yourself from day one, or you've never had anyone help you or show you what to do? You completely self-taught.
Yeah, completely. Learned the hard way, really. Lots of time, lots of money, lots of. I basically bought a load of like ruined shells to practice on. I just found out what type of paint was best for what I wanted to do. It's basically exactly the same as you would paint a car, but on a very small scale. So I now use solvent-based paint and 2K clear coat, which is one is clear paint and the other half of it is hardener. So it's exactly the same as you get on a car. So it gives it that durable, shiny finish, which I still have to cut and buff to bring out the high shine. A lot of work involved, but yeah, before it was just rattle cans off a shelf type thing, which isn't great. And especially if you're going to put 2K clear coat on it, it reacts to it. It's science really. So it took me a long time to work out what materials went with which, and what works best for me. I could say to someone, "Oh, use this," and it wouldn't work for them, but it worked for me, like in my style and what I wanted to do. So there is no right and wrong way. It just depends what you're going for, really.
Yeah. I suppose you find what you like and how you like to do it the best, and that's your artwork, so to speak. That's your designs, and I love especially a lot of your designs with the clear coat on. It makes them pop so much. The shine on them is fantastic.
Yeah, it gives a bit of a premium feel to them.
Definitely, definitely. That's what I was looking for. Premium. Definitely, they do look that. They look fantastic.
Go for more sort of stylish outcomes. I don't like. I mean, I do a few quirky bits and bobs if I'm asked to, but my goal is to make them premium and classy. I guess the word is. That's what I always go for. I've seen some others about. There's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but everyone's different and everyone likes what they like. And luckily, a lot of people seem to like what I do. So
do you do obviously on your Etsy shop store, you have your designs on there? Do you just do certain designs, or do you do custom work that people ask for separately?
Yeah, on my Etsy, that's the place where I advertise like my repeat designs that people can pre-order. So they're sort of made to order. There is a few on there that are ready to ship, but I've got to the point now where my time has to be booked in advance. I think my next availability for a private commission is sort of end of August, beginning of September. My next availability for if say you come up to me and said, "Oh, I want this in this way," I wouldn't be able to do it till then because of my current orders. But the ones that are on Etsy are sort of halfway done. So when they're ordered, I can quickly jump on it and get it out as quick as I can without compromising on quality.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I have been delayed quite a lot this year just due to some family issues that I've had to deal with. which put me back a lot. A lot of customers have been really good about it. Some haven't. They want it now. They don't care about life problems, and they just see me as a robot. And where's my console?
Yeah, I think some people see them online and think, right, well, I'll have that one. That's the one I'm getting. That's done. Whereas I think a majority of people, realise that it is custom, it is artwork, it needs to be done, and it's done at a very high standard, which
Not
unfortunately, no, and a high standard basically means it's time consuming. So, and I think, if people sit down and think realistically, you'd rather wait a few more weeks and have that premium product you want. So, that's part of the course.
With the made to order ones, I either ask for 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks from the time they purchase. Sometimes they're done before then, but I've got to give myself leeway just in case problems arise, which they do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get quite behind, which I am a little bit at the minute. But like I said, the customers are appreciative of what I've been through. So it's I'm just on a bit of a catch-up mode at the minute, but obviously I don't want to compromise on the quality either.
No.
If you rush it, it will spoil. So
yeah, I mean, I know obviously each design's different, probably different, in time scale of you getting that design done. But what would you say is your average sort of time scale for doing a console? So I would imagine that's quite time consuming with the process.
Yeah, I mean, the actual physicalness of doing it isn't that time consuming. It's the drying and curing times in between the stages. Before you even start any painting, it's got to be completely disassembled, cleaned, prepped, scuffed up, and then apply the primer, then the base coat, then any detailing, then clear coat. You've got to let a layer dry a bit, then another layer. I usually put about 3 layers on, and then you've got to cut and buff it back. There's a lot of stages of development, and in between each stage, you have to wait a while for it to properly cure and dry. If you rush it too much, it will just react and ruin, and you have to start again. So
I imagine it's quite hard with and I suppose with consoles like the original PlayStation, with those little grills on the side, if you're cutting back and you've got to get in each of those little grills to cut that back, it must be quite a fiddly, time-consuming job to get the overall, look of the console, to make sure that nothing is missed, or it must be quite fiddly work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can be, especially if I'm hand painting parts as well. There's some, and it's the environment you're doing it in as well. I mean, I've got a drying shed and a painting shed, and if it's a horrible rainy day, I'm transferring one to the other. It's very difficult. If it's too hot and humid, the paint can dry too quickly on top, but underneath the paint won't dry as quick. So it's the environment. It's a science, how the paint reacts to the temperatures and humidity, and it's taken a long time to learn what to do when and what not to do in certain conditions. So I try and do as best I can, and hope that it's enough, really.
So, question for you: I know you do consoles. Do you also do like controllers as well?
Oh yeah. Controllers are very popular. Often, if someone buys like a console from me, they'll say, "Oh, can I have a matching controller?" And I can do that as well. Obviously, it extends on top of the time, but I have controllers as well. Even apart from consoles, I've done work for other people, like hairdressers. I've customized their clippers.
Oh wow!
I know. I've done wing mirrors and stuff for cars, various car parts. It's all the same process, just a different shape.
Yeah.
I've done motorbike fenders. I've done frames for cycles, bikes. It's like I say, same process, same materials, different shape. I've done wheels for people as well, car wheels. Anything can be done really, but I obviously specialize and advertise the consoles. So
on the console side of things, what do you think your craziest order has been so far?
I get asked that quite a lot. It's
Yeah, I figured.
embarrassing, and I never posted a picture of it. A few years ago, this lady girl, I think she was in her 20s, she ordered a PlayStation 1, and I thought she was joking at the time. She wanted a picture of Gary Barlow's face on the circle of the PlayStation, and I sort of, put the laughing emoji, ha ha ha, and she's like, "No, I'm serious," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, how do you want it?" And she wanted it black and white, and she sent me the image she wanted and stuff, and I got it done and sent it to her, and never thought or tried never to think of it again. But I never, like I say, I never posted a picture of that.
That's an unusual combination, because I don't see what links Gary Barlow would have to PlayStation. But then I suppose if she listened to his music, but
I think her partner was a fan or something like that, if I can remember, and it was
okay.
a birthday present or something like that. But yeah, it was very, very random. But I got it done, and she was happy. So that's all I can do, really.
No, fantastic.
I've done a GameCube with like manga porn on it as well.
Oh wow!
Wow,
that was fun. Yeah, I can do anything. I won't say no to anything, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'll show it on my socials.
yeah, they're two very different products there. A PS1 with Gary Barlow on, and a GameCube with manga porn on is very different. Yeah, unbelievable.
So I gotta ask you, like, has anyone ever sent you like a console or controller for you to do, or do you always just like, is it they always just pick out of what you have available?
Yeah, I mean, I try to stock most things, like the popular stuff.
Okay.
People are welcome to send me their consoles or shells. Obviously it reduces the cost for them.
Mm-hmm.
But what I always say to people is, I don't like painting on shells that are pristine. I'd rather they stay that way. I prefer to do shells that need a bit of TLC, that have got scratches in them or dents that need filling. So it gives them a new lease of life.
Okay.
Because sometimes people come to me, I've got this really good condition shell that I want, and I'm like, whoa, I'll supply the shell. You keep that, because that deserves to stay in that condition. Not many out there that are in that condition. So, I'll supply the shell and you can fit it, blah, blah, blah. And usually they say, "Oh, okay, I thought you needed, pristine condition shells," but it's quite the opposite. I do like to give them a new lease of life. But, if someone insists, then that's their console. They can do what they like. But, I do try and say, would you rather keep it like that,
I know you have you do a lot of retro things. Have you done a lot of modern consoles lately, like with the PS5 faceplates, for instance? I mean,
PS5 faceplates. I've done a Series X as well. They just wanted a simple color change, really. Nothing extravagant. PS5, I've done 3 or 4 faceplates. Again, just color changes. Because you can get different colored faceplates from Sony, but they only have a select amount of colors.
There's only 6 of them. So
yeah, I can put like a really nice sparkly silver on with like a pearl sheen, or just a different type of finish, all shiny, and instead of just a flat matte color, it's something a bit different. Or I use the chameleon flip paint, so the paint you get on like a TVR car, which changes color as you move it.
I think you had a PS1 like that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I saw that. That was amazing. That was
popular
that purple
design.
sort of flip. Yeah,
it's called Blurple, which is a mixture of blue and purple. So it flips between blue and purple. That people seem to like that. PS1, I sell quite a few of them. It's one of my popular orders. I mean, my paint supplier can basically do anything. So it's whatever anyone wants, and I always make suggestions to people as well. If they say, "I want a white PlayStation," I'm like, "Okay, but have you thought about pearl white instead of just white? Because that gives a nice sheen to it." and I make recommendations, and usually they go for it. Really, I think they call it upselling.
Yeah, I think so. RGT, you hear that? You can get Nathan Drake's face on your PS5.
Do you know what I've just written in my notebook?
What was it?
Nathan Drake on my PS5.
Exactly.
I've written that down here.
Exactly.
As soon as you said you done PS5, I was like, really? I'll be texting you later, Rob.
It'd be really cool to do like almost like all the protagonists in like a collage style, like where you have like Nathan Drake, like Miles, Peter. You can do like Jin Sakai from like Ghost of Tsushima and all that kind of stuff, and I'll have like all the major protagonists from the PS5 era on a faceplate, like on 2 different faceplates on both sides of the console. I'm like, you're giving me ideas as well.
Fashion, so it's like so they almost look sketched.
Yeah.
The outlines is all sort of one color for each character and a bit more arty. I always try and put more arty effects in it rather than just a picture stuck on a surface. I try and make it a bit more designy and different.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm into color as well, so I like to add a lot of color in. And
I think like that as well, it makes it more individual as well. If it's an image that someone has seen all the time, you're going to know the image. But if it's something that's slightly different, you think, oh, that's good. That's a different version of that character, and it makes it more personal then.
Yeah. I don't usually like using images that are widely known. If I do, I try and alter it or do something different with it.
Yeah, that's good
because it stands out more. It's
definitely
like you see all these custom consoles going around for Zelda, and they've got a Triforce slapped on it, and it's done. I'm like, it's so boring. Like, it's been done to death, and I try and go further with it and add my own take on it, and I just try to do things that are different.
I like that. I have a question for you. Have you ever tried to do stuff? Have you ever had an order where a customer wanted things to make it like a console to look wooden?
Funnily enough, I haven't had someone ask. Oh no, actually, sorry, scratch that. I've got a commission coming up, which I start in about a month's time. They want a Dreamcast, but done in like a Jack Daniels barrel.
Oh,
that's wow!
So you've got the like a stamp in the wood of the JD logo, like cool. It's what do they call it? Branding. They brand the wood, and then the rest of it will be in a wood grain sort of texture. So I have been asked to do that, and I've also in the past, which I haven't finished. I've got so many unfinished consoles that I've started and had to put back because I get orders and stuff, but I'm in the process of doing an N64, and the base, the bottom half of it has real wood paneling going around it. So like half of it will be wood, and maybe the top half will have a metal effect. Just thinking outside the box, but it's actual real wood veneer that I've applied to the bottom.
So that's also sort of a new process for you to learn as well, I suppose, and a new skill going forward.
Veneer, and then you can sort of cut it and apply it to the flat panels and whatever. But it is quite difficult.
Yeah, I bet.
You have to stain it as well. Whatever wood effect you want, you can stain it at different colours. So it's something that's in the works, along with many other projects.
I also notice you also do the mods as well on the systems now. So is that what's sort of the list of mods that you do to your custom consoles now?
You name it, I can do it. I haven't done every single mod available ever, but I'm not bigging myself up, but I'm quite competent with a soldering iron, and I've got my own. I'll show you here. I've got my solder station and the soldering gun and everything like that. But I generally for the Mega Drive, I can do like region free mods, switchless. So you just hold down the reset button and it changes regions from 50 to 60 hertz. I can do what's called the triple bypass on the Mega Drive, which takes the video and sound signals and amplifies them, makes them better, more crisp, more colourful, gets rid of the jail bars and all that horrible stuff. HDMI mods I've done for Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, N64, Wii, lots of RGB mods, again for the N64. I've done PC Engine, you name it, I've either done it or can do it. You know, I've got a NES board here, which is actually a brand new motherboard, and it's got the chips from the NES on it, but everything else is brand new. So all the capacitors, all the resistors, the motherboard is brand new. So I'm working on that at the minute to build a new NES.
Fantastic!
That's cool.
And I'll put an RGB mod on that as well. It'll have a new power supply module on it as well. So it'll basically be a brand new NES in a custom shell.
That's pretty. Cause I mean, a lot with my collection, a lot of the older consoles is capacitors. Is getting them replaced, and I'm sort of halfway through. Yeah, I'm sort of halfway through getting all mine done. I've got a local guy who does it, but that is, having a new version, not that NES with a new board. I mean, you're future proofing it. Then you've got a NES that will, especially with how good capacitors are nowadays, they're completely different to the originals. You've got a NES that will last you for years.
And every chip on it is socketed as well. So if one chip was to fail, you can pop it out and put a new one on it. So it's kind of future proofing it.
Yeah.
It's a fun project. It's very time consuming, but it's good. And even on the cartridge slot isn't a standard NES cartridge slot. It's actually soldered to the motherboard.
Okay.
So it eliminates the horrible problems you have with NES. You don't push the cartridge down; it just slots in like a normal cartridge, and it works every time. Forever. So you don't need to worry about replacing the horrible cartridge slot, which is a big problem with NES. You can refurbish them, but again, it doesn't last.
So I suppose if someone wanted the full Monty with you, they could get, for instance, PS1, they could have an HDMI mod on, they could have the custom shell controller, they could go for the full works for that and really have, an updated, modern, old console, which is unique looking as well.
Exactly. That's what I like to go for. It's obviously it's costly, but it's a really unique piece.
And I think with I've got CRTs. They're getting expensive now. They're getting harder to find.
Yes.
I also have a Retron 5 as well, which is handy. If you want to play or capture footage, bits and pieces on an HD TV. But a lot of people that want to play the original hardware. That is the way forward. I think these mods and these HDMI, just to bring it up to your TVs nowadays, because on our TVs nowadays we only have HDMI ports on. That's all they have nowadays. So that,
and a lot of modern TVs don't support like 240p or even 480p. So even if you manage to get it in somehow with a converter or whatever, it just can't pick up the signal because it can't do the old picture qualities, which is a shame. But it's just the way it is. HDMI mods is the way to go, really. If the console can get an HDMI mod, then I'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. So have you got anything new in the pipelines? Any new things you're going to try? I know you were saying about the wood you were trying on the N64, but is there anything else you feel like you might have a go at?
I'm working on a clear, because you can get replica shells for most consoles now. And I've found a replica N64 shell, which is actually really good quality, but it's completely clear. So I'm going to do, I've already done one before, but I'm going to do slightly different, like a Tron sort of style. So it'll be painted, but certain sections won't be painted. So when I put the LEDs inside, it will light up the bits that aren't painted, like the pattern will shine up, like Tron lines and stuff.
That's good.
I'm doing that. It's, to be honest, in between my commissions and orders, I don't get a lot of time to do what I want to do. like I say, I've got a few bits laying around that are half started, half finished projects. And sometimes I completely forget about them. Then I'll dig it out and go, oh yeah, I forgot I was doing that, and then I'll get back into it. But yeah, I tend to stick mainly to the Mega Drive, SNES, NES, Dreamcast, PlayStation. They're the sort of staple. Oh, and GameCube. They're the sort of staple ones that I know will sell. And obviously, I'm a business, so I have to do what sells. But trends change all the time. You know, 1 month I'll get a lot of orders for a SNES. Next 2 months I won't get one, and then it'll be Mega Drive's turn, and it goes round in circles what people are into. So it's just making sure that I've got enough stock to deal with that, or like I say, people can send in their console. But I got out of Game Boys a long time ago because the market's just completely saturated with that.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask you
for them now.
if you do handhelds.
In the past, but there's just no money in it. You know, it's not all about the money, but it's just not worth it for me. You get decent replica shells now that people print off and stuff. I got out of that. If someone really wants me to, I will, but I don't advertise to do it. You know,
I suppose you could do like a custom spray job on a shell if someone needed, you know, or unique bit of, you know, artwork that's personal to them. I suppose you could do, but as far as the modern scene, I mean, even on YouTube, Game Boys are everywhere with the IPS screens and the button packs and the shells, and then there's videos of how to do it, and you know, so it's I suppose
most of the stuff these days is you can do yourself. It's just literally take it apart and pop it in, and it's done.
Yeah, there's like plug and play.
Required now or anything like that. A lot of the mod kits is just drop-in replacement stuff. You know, like a new screen, it just literally drops in and you connect it, and that's it. Whereas a few years ago, there was a lot of soldering involved and desoldering, and it was far more specialized. But now the mods have gone so far that, like I say, they're just drop-in replacements that, you know, anyone can do. So I kind of got out of that a couple of years ago. But like I say, if someone really wants me to do something, then I will. Whatever anyone wants.
Have you ever done any PCs or anything? Or
no, I've not done PCs. I've done Amigas. They're getting popular now.
Yeah,
a few custom Amiga shells for people, custom keys as well. I've got a few Amiga 600 and 500 shells that I want to get sprayed up and offered. Again, it's the time constraints.
Yeah,
but that's getting really popular now. So I want to.
I bet keys are quite fiddly to do.
Very, yep. Applying all the individual letters and numbers. But you can get replacement keys now, and you know they are quite decent quality. So, but obviously, if someone wants the keys in a specific color or style or fashion, that can be done. But time is money, so you know the more you want done, the more costly it will be.
Yeah.
But, one idea I did have was to almost use the keys as a mosaic. So you'd still have
really cool,
but you'd have a picture spread across the keys.
Okay.
Style, but still have the letters and numbers visible, so you don't get confused by the picture.
That sounds very tricky to do.
Yeah, it's still in the brain. It's not a physical thing yet, but it's something I'm ticking over, wondering how to do it and can it be done. It can definitely be done, but it's finding the opportunity to do it really.
I have a question. I have a friend who collects different like retro consoles, but they don't necessarily want to play with them. For instance, they just usually want to like hang them up. They use them as like decor sort of thing. Like they have like a whole bunch of different shelves that they put retro consoles on, and it's almost like they kind of have like different styles and everything like that, but they have like a uniform to where each one kind of has like their like streaming logo on it and such like that. Is that stuff is like I know you when you buy like shells and stuff, is that something you can do as well, just customize the shells without necessarily having to put in like the guts and the parts and such and all that?
Yeah. I even on my Etsy, I sell. I'm beginning to sell more just shells rather than the whole console, because, like you say, sometimes someone doesn't want a whole console. They don't want any mods. They just want to replace the shell on their current console, and that's it. So yeah, I do offer just shells, and I have got shells of most consoles that I can just sell as a shell kit. It's something I'm doing and want to pursue a bit more.
So, how do you go about getting your stock? Do you just find like faulty consoles, or do you find sort of a bit beaten and battered consoles that you can use for your designs? Or
Well, I have a couple of main suppliers. I've got a supplier that they're both in the UK, but one of them gets a lot of consoles from Japan. So I can get like the NTSC stuff for him. So I sell a lot of stuff to America as well. And I have a supplier in Norwich who runs Last Level Games.
Oh yeah, I know Last Level. I've been there a few times. Yeah,
he's a good friend, and he's always got stock of stuff. And if he's got stuff that he won't necessarily sell, he says, "Look, I've got this console. It's got a crack or whatever. It still works. Do you want it?" And often I'll say yes, or I'll just go to him and say, "I need 5 mega drives. What you got?" He's often got what I need. So I've got a couple of suppliers. If I haven't got something I need, then eBay. I'll have a look through eBay. But never really know what you're going to get on eBay. So you can get stuff quite easily.
Yeah, the bargain's a bit rare on eBay now. I think sometimes you get something that's overpriced that isn't what is said in the description.
Yeah.
Or, rarely will you find a bit of a gem that's you've got underpriced. I mean, people are,
Exactly.
Everyone's cottoned on to what retro stuff is worth now, and 9 times out of 10 probably
the faulty stuff a bit more, because at least if it doesn't work, there's spares on the board I can use, or at least I know I've got the shell for it.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the shell in, and
and faulty stuff you can usually get for a decent price. And the more battered, the cheaper it is. And like I say, I like using battered shells. So
yeah, it saves them from the scrap heap, and you're not, if there's one that's in mint condition, you don't feel bad about repainting one that could be kept as it is. So that's an all-win, really. So we met at OLL 23 this year, which was great event. You had a brilliant little stall there with all your consoles and shells on display. Are you lining up any more conventions or shows this year, or
not this year? Again, simply because of time constraints. It's I mean, it was really hard to get enough work to show at the OLL. Some of the consoles I was showing there was actually customers' work that I took along just so I had something to show. Because it's very time consuming to do orders and do work alongside that I know are just for show. I almost had to do just one a month to prepare for the show. But I would like to do more in the future. I'm not sure which ones or where, but it's certainly on the mind. So yeah, it's just finding that bloody time.
yeah, I know what you mean. It is.
I don't have anyone else helping. It's just little old me slaving away, trying to do as much as I can.
I was saying that for the future of the business, where do you see yourself going? Do you think you maybe will expand, or do it as a big full-time property and maybe take someone on, or where do you see?
I am full-time now. Anyway, this is what I do for a living. But I would like to expand. I'd love to get someone in to help with at least prepping. Taking consoles apart, prepping them ready to paint, because that is one of the most time-consuming parts of it. But it's it's getting to that stage when I can afford to pay someone to do that. I also want to expand into YouTube videos or Twitch, whatever, to actually show people what I'm doing and the process. Because I get a lot of people ask, "Can you show a video of how you do this?" And I don't want it to be like a tutorial. I don't obviously want to show every single trick I do.
No.
But just a sort of basic, I've got this console. What am I going to do with it? Talk about it a bit and go through simple steps of how I've got to the point, and make it. You
can sort of show them the teardown of a console, and what screws you start with to where you finish up, how you get the motherboard out. You can show all those sort of things, and without showing your trade secrets, but you can then show the end product. And and
so
that's a good idea.
Stage where I'll get a little bit of income from that as well. So I'm not completely relying on doing the work. I'll hopefully get to a stage where I've got a few followers, and you've got Patreon and all that sort of stuff, and I can offer stuff with Patreon, and I don't know, it's just things that keep ticking around in the head. I get told all the time, oh, you should do YouTube, this and that, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Give me an extra day a week, and I'll do it. But,
yes, a lot of people think you just record and pop it up, but they don't realise you've got the editing and you've got the bits and pieces, which is it's very time consuming in itself.
Little videos for TikTok or Shorts, that takes time. It's
it does. It really does.
Yeah,
the work to sell. You've got to set up the booth and the lighting, and take the pictures and then upload them and download them, and it's all part of the process.
Well, we'll pop all links to Rob in the show notes. We'll pop a link into his Etsy page, his Instagram, bits and pieces. So yeah, definitely, if you're interested, just pop Rob a message to have a look what he's got on there. If there's anything you want done, just do it that way. We'll try and get if Rob's busy, well, I know he's busy, but we'll try and get him onto the Discord as well. And then when he has new designs or he's got new customer work, he can pop some of his pictures in links to cool stuff or in general nonsense on there, and you can have a look, see what he's up to. You can always use it as you can almost use it as a little little vlog, really, so you can see bits and pieces he's doing each week or each month whenever he wants to pop on, and we can sort of follow Rob along. And like I say, if you want, I know there's plenty of you guys out there. I'm looking at you, Bada Binkster and Digital Bunkery. I know you're into your retro consoles and your custom stuff. Well, I think there's the guy to hit up here if you want anything done.
Thank you.
For sure. Rob, it has been an absolute joy having you on the show. I gotta ask though, what is that one console, that the holy grail of consoles, that you would love to work on that you haven't already?
That I haven't done yet. Ooh.
Do you have one?
I haven't really thought about that. I've done most.
Have you done like a Neo Geo? You ever done an AES Neo Geo? Or?
I have done one, but it was more of a refurb.
Okay.
It was just painted metallic black, and I redone the gold text and stuff like that, and it's shiny. So I have done one, but I haven't done a full-on design on a Neo Geo. But it would work well because it's got a nice flat surface on it, and the controllers as well. They're huge, so
yeah,
that would work.
Have you ever done like really unique rare console? Like an Apple Pippin or Panasonic 3DO or anything like that?
Or the really, really rare ones. Never been asked for that, to be honest. I do have an old Atari. Can't remember which model, but it had the wood grain along the front.
2600.
I've got one of those in stock. If anyone was ever to want to do anything with it, but no, nothing too obscure. Someone did contact me about a Panasonic Q.
Oh wow!
But he never got back to me. But we did discuss doing something on that. But they're more consoles that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing.
Because they're sort of a mirrored finish anyway, aren't they?
That I would feel bad about doing it, Unless they said, I'll give you £1 million, then yeah, sure.
Yeah, no problem. Brilliant. Right, well, I suppose we better head on to what we're hoping to play this week. So we'll start with you, Rob, as you're the guest this week. What you hope to play? More Tears of the Kingdom, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, my son won't let me not do that. I have got a new EverDrive for the Mega Drive. Which I've got loaded with games. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to going through and trying some Mega Drive games I've never played before. Because there's pretty much every game available on there. And obviously lots of games I've never played. And ones I haven't played in a long time, especially like the Turtles games on the Mega Drive. Is it Hyperstone Heist? I think it is.
Hyperstone Heist, yeah, on the Mega Drive.
I've played that in years, so I'd quite like to get back into that again. And Probotector or Contra in America. Yeah. I'd quite like to play that again. So yeah, I'll have a little delve into the Mega Drive library this week.
Oh, fantastic. How about you, Sid?
Man, I've
I would imagine you've got plenty of review codes lined up.
Oh, for sure. But Final Fantasy 16 is one that I, due to reviews and everything like that, I've dabbled in, but haven't quite gotten to play fully.
I did mean to ask you on that. Have you played some of it? Have you?
Yeah.
I played the demo
15.
of it. I was interested to see what you thought of that.
Yeah, it's really good. It is. I think like a lot of criticism has been levied on it, regarding it being not quite RPG-ish, like
that's why I want to play it, because I've never really had Final Fantasies, because I can't be bothered with all the faffing. But if it's more kind of Devil May Cry, then I'd probably give it a go.
I'm very similar to you, Rob. I was discussing this with George on last week's show. I played the demo. I'm not really a Final Fantasy player.
Mm-hmm.
Never really got into turn-based. I struggle a bit with the games. But I played a demo of Final Fantasy 16, and I thought it was fantastic. The combat is really sharp. Yes, it's linear where you want to go, but I thought the story was really good. So I think once I've finished Tears of the Kingdom, I'm going to get into it. I think if you're not, that's a silly thing. I think the purists struggle with it. But I think if you're not into Final Fantasy so much, but want that sort of Devil May Cry combat, but in a light RPG setting, then it's very good.
It's always you see the Final Fantasy logo. I'm like, whoa, that's going to be a massive turn-based game. There's no way I can start that. It's going to ruin my life, But I do hear that this one is more hack and slash type thing.
I describe this as like Game of Thrones meets Devil May Cry.
That's a good. That's a good comparison. What was that, Rob?
The Elden Ring type thing.
No, Elden Ring. No, Elden Ring. I think is very much RPG-ish. Like Elden Ring has like classes. Build your characters. It is open world. Like I would compare what you're playing with Tears of the Kingdom more so to Elden Ring, as except like Elden Ring has much better like gameplay as far as like combat and such. But this is more like God of War. Like
oh wow.
Yeah, this is more God of War. This is more in the vein of Devil May Cry. This is more in a way like it even has like some Kingdom Hearts elements. Like, but this is like very linear. I know like RGT just said like I think this is what's refreshing about it is that it's linear, because I think like in a way that like a lot of there's been a lot of open world games. You had the Elden Rings, you had the Tears of the Kingdom, you had all like games like that. This is more like straight linear, old school. Like there's going to be a cutscene every 5 to 10 minutes. Like this is very much one of those, like if you grew up in like the 90s or the 2000s where you played those story games to where like it was all about the narrative and the gameplay, like the zippy action gameplay. I think this is a good throwback, a modern interpretation of that style of gameplay.
That was a bit like, do you remember those Castlevania games on the PS3?
Lord of Shadow.
Yeah.
Like that was fantastic.
I'm
surprised they never made another one of those.
There's elements of that.
Yeah, I mean, I when I played the demo, Mrs. RGT, she was, because I mean, I'd say the demo probably 50% is cutscenes, which I know sounds a bit
that is Final Fantasy, isn't it? It's full of cutscenes.
But the story is so gripping. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And she just stood and watched me play the whole demo because she wanted to know what was happening in the story. She watched it as a show. So I think,
like movies, aren't they?
Yeah. So and I think the guy who wrote the story is a big fan of Game of Thrones, and you can see that coming through in the game itself, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is the most accessible Final Fantasy that they've ever produced. I think this is one of the. I don't think this is. I know, like this is going to be like a hot take here. I don't think this is for traditional Final Fantasy players as much as it is like new modern day gamers who just wanted to get introduced into the franchise, have elements of Final Fantasy but not quite the extensive RPG elements that mainline fans of that franchise are used to. So it is one of those games. It is a real like different like tail of the coin from like Tears of the Kingdom, which is just an open world game. You make your own adventure. Like I would argue Tears of the Kingdom has a very shallow story, and this is like the complete opposite of like all those things that like really make Tears of the Kingdom a special game, but it's special in its own way. Yeah. So Yeah, I'm hoping to play more Final Fantasy 16, and I've hardly played Diablo as well, so I'm like that's something I'm kind of hoping to play a little bit more of
That's one
as the days
series
go
I'm
by.
quite into is the Diablos. They've always interested me, but I've never took the plunge. Again, because it would probably ruin my life.
But yeah, they're very addictive games, Diablo, and
That's why I try
they
and stick to retro. 'Cause it's
yeah,
half an hour on, half an hour off.
exactly, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, RGT, what are you hoping to play this week?
Well, as you could probably guess, being more Tears of the Kingdom, this is Harvestella all over again, Seb.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So yeah, more of that. I've got a few more original Xbox titles coming this week. I'm going to dabble in ones I'd never heard of, so I thought I'd try them. You never know; they might appear on my hidden gems list. So yeah, it's going to be probably sort of between them, probably a bit more Forza. But yeah, it's definitely going to be original Xbox, I think, this week. Bit of Forza, bit of Zelda. Yeah, and also I'll be getting my hidden gem ready again for next week for the show.
Have you played? Sorry, on the Xbox, have you played? Or maybe it's Xbox 360. I'm not sure. Viva Pinata.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that over the Xbox or 360? I can't remember.
360, I think.
360, I believe.
Or
Yeah.
I think it was 360.
Different
Yeah.
type of.
I think George, our other presenter, I think he loved that game. I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
Very
Viva Pinata was let's see, a rare title I remember. Let's see. It was released on the 360 alongside of an animated series as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember that being a really popular game.
Really good game. Rob, before you go, I got one question for you. If you can recommend one game that you've played before to the audience, what game would that be?
Ever. Golly gosh.
RGT, I'm about to ask you the same question, so think about it.
Modern games. Apart from Zelda, the last one I really enjoyed was the Resident Evil 4 remake. I mean, I don't even have to recommend that to people because most people who want to play it have played it. But that sucked me in big time. It didn't take long to complete, but I went straight again and completed it again straight after because you get the extra bits and bobs. Retro wise, Gunstar Heroes on the Mega Drive.
Great game.
Fantastic game. Yeah. Oh, there's too many. You've caught me on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. RGT, what about you? You got one game. What do you recommend it to the audience today?
Oh, if I'm going, I've had this as one of my hidden gems, but I think if I'm going to go a bit retro, I'll go PS1. I'll say Colony Wars because I think Colony Wars has got something for everyone in. You got your space, you got a bit of story, you've got awesome controls, you've got great combat. It's a very good. I know it's in space, but it's still a very good looking game for PS1, and it's really cheap. And there's 3 games in the series, so yeah, you get on the first one, and the games get better as they go along. I think you've got Red Sun and Vengeance as well, and they're cheap to buy. They're great series of games. So, and gotcha. if you need a PS1 to play it on, well then hit Rob up and you get your own custom personalized one done.
For sure. For sure.
What about you? What would you recommend?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably recommend people. I'm always big into stories and games that kind of like have an impactful story that kind of can bring people in. So like I went back and played Uncharted 3 and really enjoying my time again. It's loving everything I'm playing of it, and it really just makes me want more Uncharted, if I'm being honest.
Really, I love Uncharted games. They're great.
Love them. Absolutely.
They're my favorites. As everyone knows on the Discord.
I'd love them to. I know the new Indiana Jones film's out, which is supposed to be pants, but I'd love them to make a really good Indiana Jones game again. Like, really put the effort into it, because we haven't had it in so long.
There's one in the pipeline for Xbox.
Oh, there is there?
Yeah, Microsoft is currently making one.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
We were discussing this on the show the other week, and we said that, if they do it right, it could be Microsoft's Uncharted. If they do it correct.
I have to buy it. So.
I am, it's interesting y'all say that because like I had I do another podcast called the Single Player Experience Podcast, and we had an episode where like we talked about if Indiana Jones is still a relevant IP enough to actually be a console seller in today's like
It would have been if they
gaming
did their
space. Yeah, the crazy thing is like I don't, I could see the argument back and forth there. I do think like generational wise, there is a strong generation that wants more Indiana Jones, but I feel
Yeah.
like you said, I don't think the movies have done enough justice to where new generations care about Indiana Jones, though.
No, they don't.
No,
I think, up in the first three were such incredible films, and that's a specific generation. And the Crystal Skull, the one after that was it came out too long after the last ones, and it was rubbish. I think they just annoyed so many fans that they sort of jumped off the train. Didn't really want to get back on, and it sounds like they've done it again with this new film. I'll still go and see it, but apparently it's not great.
No, it's
I've
just,
seen you guys in the Discord have watched it and sort of mixed reviews, and
it's one of those things to where I'm like, I can see a world we live in to where like Indiana Jones, the game comes out and it still doesn't sell like, or at least like have like a influx of early Game Pass gamers that want to play it as much as like the Avatar game, which is coming out later this year. I can see the Avatar game outperforming, and I never thought I'd actually see the day.
Yeah, it would need a lot of advertising and a lot of big YouTubers pushing it and getting free copies and that sort of thing. It would need a lot of input with advertising, I think. But if you're a fan, you're gonna play it.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan, you're gonna need a lot of persuasion, I think, especially with things like Tomb Raider and, like you say, Uncharted. They are kind of Indiana Jones, aren't they?
Yeah.
But for the modern audience. So
yeah, at that point, I almost would just argue make a new IP and just, that way you don't have to live up to the legacy of Indiana Jones, or like you won't like dissuade people who like, oh, that's not my Indiana Jones, that sort of thing. It almost feels like a lose-lose situation in that case.
Yeah, because even if it's a really good game, it's inevitably going to be compared to Uncharted or Tomb Raider, whereas they actually took their influence from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So it's like copying the people that have copied you. It's weird, but it just depends what generation you're from and how you see it.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Before we go, though, where can the good people find you?
They can find me. My main gallery is on Instagram at R.A.W.Talent Art, but it's R.A.W. because they're my initials, Talent Art. Twitter, raw_talent81. Facebook is the same as Instagram. So hit me up on any of those, and you can find me there. You can contact me there, or Etsy page is R.A.W.Talent Art as well. Give me a message and we'll see if we can do something for you.
I love it. RGT, where can the good people find you?
You can find me as Retro Gamer Thomas on Instagram, or as where most people come and find me, on the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, come and join Discord. We'll try and get Rob on there as well, so you can see some of his work. If not, I will post his work on as it goes on there, so you can see what he's doing. You can see his new products. You can see his new commission work, bits and pieces. But come and check out on there. Same with, like I say, I don't do a hidden gem where we guest on, but I'll be doing hidden gems again next week. So you can check out all my hidden gems on there, list of games I'm recommended for you. Let me know how you're getting on with them, and let me know how you're playing them. And don't forget, everyone, next month, August the 16th, it's a Thursday, is Timeless Games Convention in the Berry Arcade Club in Manchester. We will be there. We are present there. If you want them to go, if you want to get tickets, go onto our Discord. Check out, we've got a special section in there for Timeless Games Convention. You can buy a ticket through our affiliate link. By doing that, it automatically puts you in the draw. It's all free to enter the draw. There's no extra price on the ticket. It's the same price. And last year, prizes were PS5, a Switch, and you're entered in that for free. So if you're going to go, you might as well go in the draw as well. So buy your tickets through our affiliate link on the Discord channels.
Okay. Everyone, you can find me at Sebastian PNR on all your favorite social platforms. All the ones that still exist and not are currently inflamed with chaos. So definitely check me out. Definitely check me out there. In the meanwhile, thank you, Rob, for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Yeah, RGT, a pleasure as always. Stay safe, stay gaming, and I can't wait to hear your hidden gem next week.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys.
All right. In the meanwhile, we've been Sebastian. That's been RGT. That's been Rob. This has been the Unofficial Controller Podcast, and we're out. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.